Hello, it's Melinda. I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you. And today is day 3 of Load 1017. And today's prompt is I've got a secret about boys. And it says to scrap about an important relationship in your life with a male. Well, today I decided to scrap about my dog Remy. He's my first male dog I've ever had, and he's been with us for about a year. And him and I seem to have bonded quite well. And I think well, I should say, I think I'm his person in the house. So I want to take this time to scrap about that. He has recently started having seizures, which are very scary to me. And we have him on medication, and him and I keep close on each other. As I'm scrapbooking right now, he is curled up in his bed near me and will stay there till I go upstairs and do my next thing. So I have a very special place in my heart for him. We do have 3 dogs, but he seems to be my special guy. So I'm going to use, get this close, there we go, Stuck Sketches for October 1st. I thought that I would make this work for me. My photos aren't square. They were iPhone photos, and they tend to fill up rectangle shapes much better than square shapes when I take them without putting on the square feature. So I'm going to change it up and put it sort of this way. Sort of. We'll see. And see how that goes. And without further ado, I'm going to stick you on fast forward in case things start getting a little crazy here and dogs start barking. It's close time to my kids to come home, and that tends to ramp up the puppies. So I'll spare you from hearing all that racket. See you at the end.
And I forgot to show you this when I was talking, so I'm showing you the paper that I'm using. And I'm thinking that I need to cut this down to 11.5 by 11.5, and then I'm going to gut this paper. I do this by plunging it in at the 11 and cutting it from the 11 to the 1, holding the paper at the 11-inch mark. And that's just basically so I can use that paper on the layout or on another layout. I only do this if I don't really have a lot of mixed media on my page and it's not warping. When it's warping, I tend to use the full sheet and not gut it. Just going to figure out the placement of the photos. Now I'm debating on whether I'm going to cover these tags, so I'm going to just leave them white for now. And I'm going to use the 6x6 paper pad, so I'm going to tape them together so you can't tell that they're a 6x6. And I decide that I want to just, instead of gluing to the tag, I want to just cut a tag, make a tag up out of this banner of this striped paper. And that's a Becky Higgins Project Life card. I think I want to use that, but then I pulled a notebook paper. I thought maybe I could use that. I'm going to leave them both there just to see. I'm trying to figure out, I want to rip a strip of this, but I don't know if I want it at the top or the bottom. The sketch has a scalloped edge, and with this being a boy layout, I didn't necessarily want a scalloped edge, so I'm trying to figure out which side I'm going to do what with. I decide the top's going to be this gray ripped paper. Now I'm not paying too much attention to how wide these are, and I realize that they're going beyond the photo, and then I'm going to have this weird gap. So I'm going to fix that. But so I don't have to keep moving these photos around, I'm going to create a base out of some scrap paper and glue them to the base after I unstick my picture from my gun. I have a new gun and it's acting weird. That actually will save me some fixing constantly of the photos. Makes them one unit. Now I wanted to back the center photo with white cardstock, and I forgot at this point. I will remember before the layout's over with. Now I'm going to use this tag, kind of where my title will go. I decided I'm going to use the Project Life card. And I have this dark gray tissue paper that I thought I would use. I'm going to wrinkle it up. There's, I think, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 layers there. I don't really count. I just kind of cut. And this is where I realized, well, I don't like them sticking out like that. I decided I want another color to break up the gray tissue paper against the gray star paper. So I'm just going to add that, and I'm going to make sure it's the same length as the one down. So it would, my hope is that it looks like one solid sheet of paper, the blue. That's kind of what I was going for. I decided that I wanted that to be a little rougher cut. I was trying to figure out why I was ripping that again. I'm just going to trim that up a little bit. And then I realized that all these layers need to be fixed. After I do this, I think I probably could have just stapled them and it would probably have been faster. And that's what I end up doing on the bottom when I need to. I have this flare badge. I think it's a Fancy Pants one from a while ago. Just take another look at the sketch. And I think that's where I'm going to put it, but I move it. And I splatter this, and most of the splatter gets covered up. This is where I staple them all together on that one, on the bottom part. I think I like that better with it going that way. I'm going to tie an orange thread on the gray tag, but I forget that I want a reinforcer, so I do all the tying and then I have to untie it. And I don't really like this one in a bow anyway, so after I do all that fussing, I cut the gray one and I go, oh, I wanted reinforcers. So I'm going to put, this is a We Are Memory Keepers reinforcer punch. I'm going to put an orange one on the gray tag and a gray one on the orange tag. And now I'm just going to loop it. I'm not going to worry about it. This one I'll tie, and it should have been longer because it just kind of looks like a spider to me. I fussed with it for quite a bit. I couldn't quite get the second loop to go through with all the, I doubled it up, which caused me problems. And oh, while we're doing this, the black ink is smearing on my fingers and on other things. Now, nothing is secured down as of yet. I decide that I want to bring in some black. That flare badge is such a dark gray, it looks black. And I know my journaling is going to be in black ink. I toy with adding those stars again. Those poor stars. I decide that my title is going to be My Fella, The My is going to be the Kalbartiski font from Thickers. And the fella is going to be the Daily Flash from October Afternoon. I miss October Afternoon. I love their thickers or their stickers. And I'm just trying to figure out how that's going to work. And this is where I'm going to start sticking stuff down. And I didn't put anything where the tag needs to slide in so I could move it around depending on how much I wanted it out. Now for some reason, I don't know why, but these were not sticking very well. I ended up having to glue some of them down. That there leaves an odd little spot of dead space. So I'm going to move the number 1 best guy flare badge down there. I'm going to put some foam dots underneath the tag to raise it up a little bit. That one's floating around. I'm debating on whether I'm going to keep it. I decide to nix it. It's feeling kind of plain to me, so I'm going to add some black down here in the bottom. I'm kind of dismayed that I'm covering up my splatters. So instead of just splattering more, I decide I'm going to add black here and there. I'm going to offset the journaling tag. I'm going to pop a piece of foam inside the flare badge and then put 2 of the 3D Zots to hold it down. I'm going to get my Tombow Mono multi out and glue down, for now, just the E and the L. Then the A will have to be done later. And while I have it out, I figure I might as well put the stars down. Those are color cast designs. It's still just looking plain to me, so I'm going to do my journaling in pencil. And while I'm doing this, I'm looking at the photos and I realize that I didn't put stuff around the picture in the center. So I'm doing that now. And I didn't make you watch me do that over in ink. I'm just going to erase the pencil lines, starting for the head. I'm going to glue that down, but the ink pen I used was too sharp of a point, so halfway through I used a different one, and then I had to go over the top part, and it just looks bad, so I'm going to rewrite that. You'll see that in the close-ups, and just tape it over top of that one. I decided I want to add more black. I debated on sewing, but once I have those resin stars on there, I not put that through my sewing machine. So I decided to add some black washi tape under the edge there to kind of create a triangle of those washi tape, but it's still missing something. I'm going to try this. This is just some really wide newspaper washi tape that I got from AliExpress. And I stick it under both sides. And I'm not sure if that's what it needed, but it stays and looks a little more finished to me. I noticed that was really loose. And this does not like the washi tape, so I had to fight with it a little bit. I'm going to show you some live close-ups after I pop up these edges. There are plenty of still shots on the end, and like I said, you will see that I redid the journaling. In the still shots, but not in the close-ups here. I want to thank you for watching. If you aren't a subscriber and you like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button. I try to post at least a layout a week. In October, there'll be lots more layouts posted than normal just because it's load and I do a layout every day. Not going to post every day though. That's just not going to happen. Too much going on. But thanks again for watching.